Okay, people, this is Xtatic, and before I begin with the whole calling out people, I just want to read what rape culture is for you to understand. Even regardless, I know some will not understand, but you know what? Rape culture is a culture where rape and other expressions of sexualized violence occur with some frequency and where societal attitudes about gender and sexuality normalize and trivialize this violence. Misogynistic language, acceptance of objectification, and creating a normal behavior of sexual abuse and violence all perpetrates the creation of rape culture. When violence towards both women and men are normalized, it is difficult for our society to recognize it as a problem. And so when I heard this song, because I didn't even have to go and look for the song, I'm not really keen. The reason I am not is personal, but I appreciate what they've done for, I guess, Kenyan music. I could appreciate that, but when I heard it, I was triggered. I was triggered as a survivor. I was triggered as a woman. I was triggered as a mother. I was triggered as an artist. I was hella triggered. We've got into this creatively. We just want to excuse ourselves. Hey, I'm just being creative with such content. And these are not just any artists. These are practically our number one artists. That's what they've been, they've been, because of their numbers, they're doing, because of the people, the crowds they've garnered towards their music and everything. And their music sure is attractive with instrumentals that they have and the controversy and the explicit content that they have. And maybe that's what people are saying. There's a market for that. Sure. You can speak on sex and drugs all day. However, you cannot have rape inciting lyrics and have me to get into your brain, have me tell me that I should understand it differently. How can I understand that without permission can be understood differently? Explain to me that. I don't know how I can understand it in a way that's cool. In a way that's, because I feel like this of course it is because of what the society has normalized, what we have been consuming and praising and being it's not problematic, it's whatever, regardless of how explicit and how aggressive it can become. Because I feel like most of these kids, because they are kids. I'm not even trying to come for kids for any clout. Children. I've gone through a lot. And I got kids of my own, so please don't even be telling me whatever I think this or no. And I know my content. And I'm not even trying to brag or anything. I have content that varies. It's not only sex, it's not only my life, it's not only party. It is a whole variation of things, skill and all that. I'm just gonna put it out there. So me trying to compare my music or whatever to, oh yeah, but these people are receiving numbers. Nah, we can't do that. We can't do that. But anyway, back, the main thing about this thing is the message that it's putting out there. Because these people have great influence on younger people. They have great influence on people coming out from high school. And in fact, most teenagers know these songs. It's teenagers who actually know these songs, many of them, and young adults. And having that age range or, speaking to those people who have come out of an education system that does not have sex education. We do not have we have some form of sex education. It's not the deeper, it's not a good form of it. And now people are learning, from aggressive porn to violent porn to music as such. And what we're seeing here is that there's this normalization of sexual violence, to a point where it's so normal, people can't even see. People are oh, they try now to flip it on me to be you're coming for a genre which has raised, now has made Kenyan music get played more, in Kenya. And I'm just no. I only spoke about the lyrics. That's it. You can't, I'm a rapper myself. You cannot tell me, me, Xtatic, you cannot tell me that there was nothing you could rhyme. You cannot tell me that there was nothing you could. And of course, there's a struggle between, like, do they know better? And that's the reason why I'm addressing this issue. Is like, do they know better enough to talk or to create, to have better content, to have content that doesn't overstretch and goes all the way controversial to a point where it's inciting rape, Do they? Or is it because our culture, this country, our society has normalized sexual violence, this aggressiveness you put towards sex? In fact, sex shouldn't be all aggressive. Sex should be all about consent. Even if you want to do BDSM, the other person must consent towards what you want. If they do not want that, do not try to violate their consent. They don't like that, they don't like that. And that's how it should be. So I'm very angered that we have praised so much of this explicitity. I can't even say the word, but this explicit lyrics to a point where they feel like it's okay. It's really okay to talk about how aggressive I can be during sex. And probably just saying without permission means that you needed permission in the first place. If you're stating that, it means that you needed permission in the first place. So you're stating that even without permission, you are going to go ahead with whatever that line was. And that is violating and disregarding somebody's consent. And it ain't it. It ain't it. I'm not for it. And that's why I called it out, because as I have seen, no one is ready. I don't know if people are not ready to call it out, or I don't know if people are afraid that because this is a #1 artist, that other people, like the many fans, will cancel them and whatever. And I don't know, like, I'm not even sure why this was not called out, because apparently, just because I don't listen to their content like that, they have lyrics as such in different songs. And I'm just like, y'all let this slide and stop justifying or trying to justify a call out. Like, don't be calling them out when rappers in hip hop, don't be calling them out when Diggies. No, all the rappers in hip hop, every artist who has ever had rape inciting lyrics is wrong, will continue to be wrong. Whether they were called out or not, they were wrong. And I'm calling this out because this is a very apparently kids are singing it. So it's very influential. So you cannot tell me, shut up, because you're not understanding Shang. Nimetoka maju. Like those people who keep on saying, oh, understand Shang. What to understand? So umesoma sijui umeshirunda ya nani? It's crazy. It's crazy to see that this attitude towards explicit content and content that is rape inciting get accepted just because, this music we're not coming for the genre. Listen, we're not coming for the genre. The genre has been there. People acting as if this genre came out of nowhere. No, the genre has been there. And people have pretty much been having dirty lyrics. So you cannot be telling me that I want to cancel a genre. No, I just want us to have a conversation as artists to consider revising our content. Because without that, we are causing more harm. We are enabling predators. We're enabling people. We're enabling this toxic masculinity. We are building onto it. We're not getting better. And until something happens to us is when we go like, and we don't want to get to that for us to look at what is wrong with such lyrics. Whether you mean it that way or whether you didn't and got caught up and you were just rhyming for the sake of rhyming. You could choose better words. Please, artists, revise your content. Listen to what you're saying. Look at the conditions around us, the environment. Sometimes it helps to look at that and see if you are contributing and making it okay for like bad attitudes and just bad things to happen to people, because we cannot say the rape culture is not alive and well and it's a myth and you do not believe in rape culture when we have 1 in 5 women who have experienced sexual assault, and these are only reported cases. Please.